It's time once again for a Blu-ray haul, and this one's got a lot of cool stuff to it.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to the Blu-ray haul for January through March of 2025. There is a lot of great variety in this haul. I got some anime, I got some TV shows, some Warner Archives, some new releases, and a bunch of other movies that I watched for the first time, and I actually have some insight on those because I've been watching more movies this year. So there's a lot of cool stuff, and I hope you do enjoy this. If you do enjoy Blu-rays and Blu-ray videos, please hit the like button, please hit subscribe and the notification bell. Those two things help the channel immensely and help make sure this video gets out to more people and tells YouTube that you want to see more from me on this type of stuff. So let's get to it with our Blu-ray haul for Q1 2025. So naturally, we're starting with videos that have their own videos, beginning with the Ultraman Ultra Galaxy Fight Collection. Did a full breakdown of that one. Also did a video breakdown on Digimon Adventure 02 and Special Rescue Police Winspector in one video for convenience. And I also took a look at the new Bubblegum Crisis Blu-ray as well as the first ever Bubblegum Crash Blu-ray. So check out all of those videos after you finish this one. All right, let's start with the biggest stack, the Kino Lorber Classics. We kind of went on a Kino spree this early part of the year, especially in February. A lot of Kino titles have gone on sale. Kino had a sale themselves, and there was just some other things to pick up. And a lot of these are movies that I have actually watched. What a surprise. It's not me going, oh, hey, here's a thing I'll watch later. Like this Tony Curtis collection. So this was, my mom picked these out for the most part, and we've been watching them. And it's been really fun. One of my goals of the year was to watch more movies. I realized last year I pretty much almost entirely watched franchise films and a few others here and there, and I was like, no, I just want to watch more movies regardless of quality. And here's a perfect example of that. So this is a box set of Tony Curtis movies. The first one, 40 Pounds of Trouble. This was the reason we bought the box set, because this movie features a third act climax that takes place at Disneyland in the 1960s, and you don't usually see movies get to film at Disneyland because Disney's very protective of how they do things. But essentially, the story of this movie is that Tony Curtis's character is taking care of this kid, and he's got this other woman who's helping him, and they kind of form a little found family thing. But she really wants to go to Disneyland, so they go to Disneyland, but he's being chased by the police at the same time, and so there's a big old chase scene through 1960s Disneyland, and it was apparently caused a huge commotion when they were filming it there, because it was while the park was open, they were filming the whole movie stuff there. And if you're a Disneyland fan, especially a classic Disneyland, you definitely want to check this out for that sequence in particular. I think the movie overall is fun. It's a good comedy, but that third act at Disneyland is kind of special and wild, and you can kind of see the stuff that they got away with then that they would never get away with at any other point in time. All right, so then we got The Great Imposter. This is sort of based on a true story, but basically Tony Curtis is playing a character who's an imposter, and he just kind of assumes different identities, and it's fun. I think that the overall runtime was a little short. I feel like the premise was good, but the execution was a little lacking in some areas. But overall, I thought it was fun. Did not like this movie. The Perfect Furlough, where Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh, that's how you get your Jamie Lee Curtis right there. But Perfect Furlough is not a great movie. There's a lot of problems I have with this film. It's not just the casual misogyny of 1958, but there's a lot about this movie that just doesn't work. Story-wise, it's a mess. A lot of it kind of feels like a male power fantasy more than an actual story. And it involves basically Tony Curtis is going to go on a furlough from the military that he's in, and then it's oh, he can spend this time with this famous actress in Paris, and it just kind of devolves into a bunch of just sort of slop, honestly. It just wasn't great. I think at the time it came out, it was received as this is fine. But looking at it at the lens of somebody in 2025, I'm this is kind of gross. So I didn't enjoy that one so much. But yeah, these are sold as a box set. This box set was I don't know, less than $30. Kino Lorber puts out a lot of classic films. They do great, work on them. They're really good. And then they're really affordable, which is my favorite thing, because it's okay, yeah, you can just take a risk and buy a box set. But yeah, if I was going to rank them, 40 Pounds of Trouble's the best one, Great Imposter, pretty solid. Perfect Furlough, not recommended. All right, so next up, we got a classic, Uncle Buck, John Candy, in a John Hughes film. The basic story here, for those that may not have seen it, because it is old enough at this point, this family has kind of a dysfunction to them. They're a little dysfunctional. But basically, the parents have to go away to go, see they have a parent that is sick, and so they need someone to watch the kids, and they call Uncle Buck, and they don't want to necessarily. I can see the horror on the parents' faces here, but he's kind of their only choice. And over the course of this, he connects with the three kids. There's especially like the teenage daughter's like the problematic one, and he kind of connects with them, makes their lives a little bit better, and also improves himself, kind of making himself a better person in the process. Really great. John Candy's hilarious in this. This is, pretty much where John Hughes met Macaulay Culkin, which is what led to Home Alone casting as well, because you had, several people in the production. It's like, okay, this is kind of where Macaulay Culkin got his start as a child actor and stuff. But yeah, it's really charming. It's really fun. There's a really good interview with Jean Louise Kelly, who was the teenager in the movie, and 2 audio commentaries by different film historians, which is pretty awesome. 4K transfer is excellent, comes with the Blu-ray as well. Classic movie, and if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. It's a fun one. All right, Paint Your Wagon, as you can see, still sealed. Haven't had a chance to watch this yet. I think I've seen it at some point, and kind of the next movie will fall in line with this. But yeah, we haven't sat down to watch this one yet. But this is the 4K edition of it. It's got, look at that. It's Lee Marvin, Clint Eastwood, and Jean Seberg, if I'm saying that correctly, because sometimes I don't read names correctly. But anyways, nice 4K edition. Again, haven't cracked it open yet, so I don't have too many more thoughts on it at this time. I got the Hallelujah Trail. The Hallelujah Trail is, it's a comedy in a lot of ways. It's really fun. This is, let's see, some of these movies are hard to describe because they're kind of wild. And the old phrase they don't make movies like they used to. Yeah, the movies didn't used to go this hard. This is fun. And so it's a rip-roaring Western comedy about the year Denver was nearly devastated by a drought of whiskey and had to have 40 wagon loads imported through a very harsh and very thirsty territory. But it gets completely derailed because there is a march for women's rights as part of this. And so there's a whole big thing, and they have to get the whiskey. They have to get the whole trail going through to Denver, and it's wild. It really is. A lot of these movies of this era, because this was 1965. Love how Kino Lorber just puts the date right there, makes it so easy. Movies in the 60s, you can get a huge range of styles and tones and variety. And a lot of them are very unexpected in how their stories play out, and I think that makes it really fun. But this one, quite enjoyable. Here's one I had not seen before, Two Mules for Sister Sarah, Clint Eastwood, Shirley MacLaine. I really like this one. This was, 1970. This is essentially Clint Eastwood's character saves a nun, and basically, she kind of needs passage through and needs help, and so basically he agrees to help her. There is a twist to her character identity, which I think is really fun. They do carry these two mules around, naturally, by the title. There is a lot of great stuff in this. I think the character dynamics are really interesting. I think there's a lot of intrigue and layers to it. I think it's shot really great. Big surprise. I actually had never seen it, and I really enjoyed it. This doesn't contain 2 cuts of the movie. There's an international cut and a domestic cut. The international cut's only on the 4K. The domestic cut's only on the Blu-ray. And the only real difference between them is, there's just one major scene that sort of explains Clint Eastwood's, motivation in the film. And so I do recommend watching the international cut. It's just a little bit longer. There's no major differences otherwise. It was, because this was running 105 minutes, or 114 minutes, so they cut it down to 105. I would say, you should watch the international cut, obviously. It does have a couple audio commentaries on the 4K and a vintage candid interview with Clint Eastwood, as well as poster and image gallery. Those are all on the 4K, and then the Blu-ray has radio spots, TV spots, and theatrical. I do believe this also has a Blu-ray release in case you're not a 4K watcher, so I would say make sure you can get the international cut, because it does make the movie, I think, a little bit stronger. My mom had not seen the international cut before, and so she was actually kind of pleasantly surprised by some of those extra scene inclusions that sort of tighten the movie up. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. Top recommendation there. All right, Taupe Copy. This is an interesting film. This one was shot in and around Turkey in the 1960s, 1964. It's kind of it's interesting because this is part of like kind of a sort of subgenre of movies of that era where there's like crazy heist stuff, but they're not like heist movies in the way that we see heist movies now. Like it's not like an Ocean's 11 style heist movie because, you know, Ocean's 11, was Ocean's 11 out by this point? The original, not the more modern remake that everybody uses as their heist movie template. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff, and especially with the way that like they have to put together a crew, and then how does that crew work out, and can they get what they're doing, and make sure they go to this thing to this thing. It's really interesting because a lot of heist movies nowadays run a similar formula. Like I said, the like modern Ocean's 11 formula. This is in the earlier times, and it's nice to see a variety on that genre, and it's pretty good. All right, next up we have The Art of Love, which has James Garner, Dick Van Dyke, Elke Summer, and Angie Dickinson, as well as Ethel Merman and Carl Reiner. Like, you cannot get a better lineup. This was not on the original list. My mom, like I told my mom to make a list of Kino Lorber movies that she wanted to get, that she wanted me to see and stuff. This wasn't on it. We were watching another movie, which actually that should be the next one we talk about. And they had a movie trailer section, and all the Kino Lorber movies typically do, they put trailers in. And the trailers like are for other movies of same actors, same creative talent, or same genre. And so you can kind of get some recommendations by the movie trailer section, which I think is awesome. And so we saw the trailer for this movie, The Art of Love. And it is a crazy comedy. This was 1965. This movie is, I thought, really funny. It did come at sort of the tail end of like the absurdist comedy like boom. And so I think that it wasn't as well recognized at the time. But essentially the plot here is that Dick Van Dyke's character fakes his own death to make sure his art sells higher. And that's the whole scam. And so it's kind of all spirals out of there. And that's why it's, The Art of Love, because there's love stories, and his roommate / friend is maybe not as the best friend for him. And so he's kind of like having to go through all this stuff, and there's like layers to it, and it kind of unravels in a lot of ways. Quite fun, quite enjoyable, just really great. I really enjoyed this one. And same goes for Fitzwilly, also starring Dick Van Dyke. This is where we saw The Art of Love. This is one of my mom's favorites. This was it's another, like, it's one of these, like, sort of heist movies in a way. This is 67. This one is, huge comedy. It's got a John Williams score, which is crazy because that's, pre-Star Wars John Williams. Pre-Superman John Williams as well, pre-Indiana Jones. John Williams has done different types of scores. He's not just like epic action movie guy. But this movie is hilarious. It's got, once again, like layered comedy where it's just like things build and build and build and build and build to the climax, and then eventually it all just kind of blows up. And I really like movies like that. I think it's a really cool way to do it. But basically, they have to commit a series of robberies in order to kind of keep their finances going and helping the people they like. And there's like a whole big sequence in a department store at the end that's just chaos. And controlled chaos. Always fun to watch. And yeah, really enjoyable movie as well. All right, back to Westerns. We got The Big Country. This is Gregory Peck, Gene Simmons, Carol Baker, Charlton Heston, Burl Ives. This is a huge grand Western. This is, when you get Westerns like this, 1958, it just makes the Western genre really shine, and this is it just blows up. It's huge. It's massive. The scope, the scale, everything going on. It really, really enjoyable. If you like Westerns and you haven't seen The Big Country, I think you need to watch it, because it's really peak Western filmmaking in a lot of ways. Really, really great. All right, we got Hatari. This is a John Wayne movie. Atari is essentially, it's about a group who are professional game hunters in Africa, and they don't use bullets. They capture, basically they capture the animals, so that way they can use them for like, circus attacks and zoos, that kind of thing. This was, I thought, enjoyable. The sequences where they're capturing animals, because it says, 1962, really impressive, really incredible to see how they shot it, and like, be like, wow, like they're really out there with a lot of this stuff. As much camera tricks as you can pull off, it does add a lot of the tension. Bonus feature-wise, there's commentaries on almost every one of these has like a commentary from like a film historian, which is another thing I like about Kino Lorber. Great Henry Mancini score. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a really solid movie. It's got Maybe some outdated stuff here and there, but I thought pretty solid overall. All right, and then I haven't gotten a chance to watch these yet. This is the Anime Wong collection. This is got Dangerous to Know, Island of Lost Men, and King of Chinatown. Anime Wong was a very prominent film star of the era, and this is a great collection celebrating 3 of her films. So these are these are earlier. This is 1938, 1939 for these movies. But yeah, I'm looking forward to catching these. I haven't gotten a chance to yet. But these are definitely on the list of movies to watch because, yeah, again, wanting to watch more movies. We've been watching a lot of 50s, 60s movies, some 30s, and yeah, very looking forward to getting into more of those. You may see more Kino stuff in the future, just because they do put out a lot, and I also think that they just put out great, solid releases for an affordable price, and it's allowing me to check out more movies that otherwise I wouldn't have, and that is kind of the fun of collecting, in addition to just like, oh, let me buy my favorite things. Let me get stuff I've never seen before and still enjoy it all the same. All right, let's look at some movies from other publishers. We've got Les Miserables in 4K. Actually, I haven't seen this. My mom has been wanting to watch it again, so naturally picked it up. Haven't seen it yet. Isn't it a lengthy movie? See, I liked how Kino Lorber had everything like laid out. It's like, here's your runtime. Here's your, hopefully Solid Release. Haven't opened it yet because we're going to be watching it soon. It's on the list. All right. Here's a sad story. So The Wiz is a terrific movie. This is Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Richard Pryor as the Wizard. Lots of great stuff. This is a take on The Wizard of Oz, but through the lens of black talent in Motown. And I really adore a lot of this movie. I haven't seen it in years, though. And I haven't owned a modern copy, right? I think we have the DVD, but did not get the Blu-ray. And I've been sitting around not getting the Blu-ray, At the Oscars this year, Queen Latifah performed a rendition of Ease On Down the Road as a tribute to Quincy Jones, who, of course, did the music for the movie and also Ease On Down the Road. And it was like the most electric, amazing moment of the Oscars. Not enough people were talking about that, and I think mostly because people just didn't know The Wiz, which is a shame because The Wiz is great. But the thing here that I really did like was that I was like, I love that performance, and it kind of made me go like, I need to buy The Wiz on Blu-ray. So I finally did, and then like literally a week later, Criterion announced their 4K edition of The Wiz coming out in June. So that's like the 3rd or 4th time that's happened to me. So if that ever happens to anybody else, don't feel bad. It happens to everyone. I think it was like Roger Rabbit. I finally bought Roger Rabbit on Blu-ray, and then Disney's like, here's the 4K, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll buy that 4K. So I haven't watched The Wiz again, because now I'm like, okay, I might as well wait for the Criterion 4K at this point. Yeah, especially because this only has like one little featurette. Now, the interesting part is I don't know if this featurette is on the Criterion release, and won't really know until, the Criterion release comes out. But I'm really looking forward to that Criterion release, because, again, great movie, great music as well. Every musical worth its stuff has great music. If your musical has forgettable, unmemorable songs, then you sort of fail at being a musical. Like every musical I love has a great soundtrack. Whether it's 3 out of the 10 songs are like incredible and it holds up the whole thing, or if the entire soundtrack is great. Like you gotta have a strong soundtrack, or else you don't have a musical. Musicals are about the music and about the story that you tell with that music, and this is a good example of that, because I gotta tell you, hearing Ease On Down the Road at the Oscars from Queen Latifah just made me so excited to watch this movie again. And now I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll wait 2 more months so I can watch it again in the 4K. But yeah, now I got this. And if that bonus feature isn't on the Criterion, hey, then there's a reason for me to own this. So there's at least that. Double dipping happens way too often. All right, next up, Last Voyage of the Demeter. This is the story of Dracula on a boat. That's the short version of it. There's a portion of the Dracula novel that's usually skipped over in adaptations, which is the part where Dracula is taken from Transylvania to London and has to feast on the crew of the boat, which is why when the boat arrives with him on it, there's nobody else alive. And so this movie is essentially just that part of the story, and I've heard good things about it. And so I just pick up the Blu-ray because for some reason, despite like every other Universal movie ending up on some streaming service, this didn't, like on any of them, not even Peacock from what I could tell. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to buy the Blu-ray, and I've been meaning to watch it. I just haven't found a quiet haunting night yet to do so, but eventually I will. If I really love it, there's a 4K coming from Shout, but if I just like it, I'll probably just stick to this, but we'll see when I eventually watch it. All right, Forrest Gump, another one of those movies that's like oh, hey, we haven't owned that yet, and here's the 4K. Full admission, the reason why is because I have actually never seen all of Forrest Gump. I have seen chunks and pieces of it. I know a lot of references to it. I think I have the general, story in my head. I've never actually sat down and watched it in full. That's bad. That's going to get corrected. But anyways, that's on the list of things to watch because, yeah, it's an iconic film, and I have not watched the thing in full, which is bad on me. All right, speaking of Criterion and 4Ks, we have Godzilla vs. Biollante on 4K from Criterion. There's also a Blu-ray edition of this. Criterion did do that big old Godzilla box set that I did review as its own separate video, which was great. There was, it wasn't perfect, but it was great. I think the packaging has not held up to the time. I've had to take my discs out of it because they started slipping due to the glue. But this is our first Heisei era film from Criterion and our first 4K for Godzilla from Criterion for the modern stuff. They did do a 4K of the first Godzilla movie. It does seem like the 4Ks are going to be coming out piecemeal. And they didn't start with Return of Godzilla, which is the first Heisei movie. They started with the second one, which is Biollante. But that's good because I think this one's had the most availability issues because here's the Miramax Blu-ray, which I think was put out by Lionsgate. There was another Echo Bridge release. There's been a few releases of this, but they always go out of print pretty quick. And so I think doing Biollante as the first Heisei from Criterion was great because that means it's instantly way more available than it was previously. Now this isn't a perfect release. First of all, it does come with the 4K and the Blu-ray. So if you are wanting to get both formats in one, there you go. If you want just the Blu-ray, there is that. What's nice is that while we didn't get a fancy slipcover, we did get a poster. I'm going to have to back the camera up here because it's a big poster. So this poster is of Biollante's rose form, right? Which is the main kaiju of the movie. And then there is an actual essay in here called The Real Monsters by Jim Cironella, which is written on the back of it, as well as some credits, acknowledgments for the movie. So it's kind of like a booklet, but instead of a booklet, we get a poster, which I think is cool. And it's definitely an upgrade. There is a ton of bonus features on here. The thing that surprised me was that there were bonus features, because Toho's a little stingy sometimes, but we've got, an audio commentary from historian Sam Deegan, who's the host of a podcast. There's a making of feature from 1993, a short documentary from 1993, which has concept art in it, deleted special effects, which is a whole highlight reel of special effects things they shot, they didn't use in the movie, TV spots and trailers, and new English subtitle translation, plus the essay that's inside on the poster. This is the brand new 4K restoration, the one that Toho's been doing. It looks amazing. It looks absolutely like a massive upgrade from this. Now, if you do have the previous release, it did have this wonderful rating of rated PG for traditional Godzilla violence. That does not appear on the Criterion. It does also have the English dub on this Blu-ray. Because you got, Japanese in 5.1 and 2.0, and then you got a 1.0, a mono English dub track. Now, while this does contain pretty much everything else, it does not contain the English dub track. I think someone said one of the TV spots or trailers was for the English dub, but the actual dub is not included. This was an issue with the Showa box set from Criterion. It's just a licensing problem with Toho. It's just, you can't really do anything about it. So if you are someone that cares about the dub, and you have the old copy, keep your old copy, like I'll be doing, because this has the dub. I'm going to keep both. This one's going on the shelf. This one's the one I'm going to watch, because I don't usually watch, live action stuff with dubs, but I do like having it for archival purposes, so I'm definitely going to keep this. But this is my new go-to copy, because it's beautiful, it's awesome, and I look forward to seeing which Criterion Godzilla release will be next. I have a feeling we're going to have to buy them one at a time. But, if you're going to pick them up on either release day or when they do the 50% off sales at Barnes & Noble or Criterion, which is a good way to pick up Criterion stuff. That's your hot tip. So yeah, Godzilla vs. Biollante, definitely recommended from me for sure. All right, next up, we are Venom: The Last Dance. So Venom: Last Dance was the third and seemingly final Venom movie. It made, pretty good money, because the Venom movies usually do. It's, it's led Sony down a false sense of security, thinking they can just make a movie off any Spider-Man character. No, Venom's special. Venom is a special case. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a good send-off to this version of Eddie Brock and Venom. I don't feel like we need to continue to do these. I know, Sony might want to, because again, money. There was this awesome Venomized horse in the movie. I liked it. It may not have been for everybody. I know it was a little weird, but I thought it was cool. But the big factor is how much you enjoy the character of Venom and Eddie in these movies, because it is really about them more than anything else, and I enjoy that. Also, gotta give credit to Sony on their steelbooks for Venom. They really never missed. Last Dance, the Carnage one was rad, and the original one was so cool with like the way that Venom was written inside the mouth like that. The steelbooks for these had really nice art pieces on them, and this one is no exception. So it's made like a really nice like collection of these movies between the steelbooks, and I really appreciate that. I really just appreciate the art quality here. It's not just, oh, we recycled a poster. Like it's an actual cool thing. Yeah, there is some bonus features on here. I don't think I've actually watched them. Actually, I haven't watched the movie since I saw it in theaters. But yeah, there are some bonus features and some extra stuff. So you got that going on. But yeah, it's fun if you enjoyed the first two. All right, here we got Wicked coming home to Blu-ray. So Wicked Part 1, very nice looking steelbook here. This was, I think it was a Walmart exclusive steelbook. You can see really great like presentation in the visual. You got, of course, Elphaba and Glinda on the front, the Wicked logo on the back. There's Wicked on the spine. We'll see if they end up doing like a 2-movie collection down the road. But really nice. I do like that on the 4K disc we get kind of that recreation shot of the original like Broadway poster image kind of thing. And then the Blu-ray is just a generic disc because that's kind of how Universal rolls. A little advertisement for the soundtrack. Speaking of soundtracks, I mean, this is a musical that has a good soundtrack. I mean, there's a reason it's been running like 20 plus years on Broadway. And then, yeah, really nice artwork on the inside. Adore this movie, really do. And I've seen it a bunch of times now because not only included in the bonus features was a sing-along edition, so that would have been the second time watching the movie after theaters. There was also 2 different commentary tracks. There was one with director John M. Chu, which was pretty good. And there was this wonderful one with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, which was really good. They really love Wicked, and you can tell when the way they were talking and they were calling out like people in the background, like, oh, that person's so sweet. I loved working with them and that kind of thing. And it really, really was nice. There's a bunch of deleted scenes and extended scenes. There's a bunch of making of stuff as well. It's pretty dense for a modern film to have all that features. But 2 different commentary tracks is great, and I hope they do 2 different commentaries for part 2 as well, because that I think would be pretty great. Because it was nice hearing the different perspectives. It was kind of like you had the director who had the more technical side of things, whereas the actors had the more like creative side of things in a lot of ways. And I think that it's just kind of cool to have the 2 different commentaries because they both had different insights that the other didn't have. All right, getting into British stuff. We got William Hartnell complete season 2 for Doctor Who. Yes, this is the entire second season, which is I think it's the only season of Hartnell where they weren't missing episodes, if I'm correctly remembering. This is a massive set, as you can see. It is 9 whole discs. So the way that the original Doctor Who stuff has been released in Blu-ray is they've been doing these collection sets, and kind of like Marvel Epic Collections, in comics, they're not releasing them in order. They're just kind of releasing them as available. They've been touching up some of them. So this, of course, has all of the serials from season 2. It's all 9 stories, so each disc you can just hit play, and then that's going to be the entire story. And then it's got all these bonus features, and it's like a bunch of stuff that's brand new for this set, as well as you have the extra bonus features as well. It does say an exclusive booklet for the exclusive limited edition set. There's no booklet, and I didn't get one. I don't know if that is just because the first prints are going to have that, but they should change out the paper if their first prints are the only ones that come with booklets. But anyways, I did pick this up because this is the earliest season set that we have. The other season, all the seasons are on Tubi for Doctor Who, minus episodes they can't stream for legal reasons, or episodes that are, of course, missing because one of the most infamous cases of lost media is Doctor Who tapes were recorded over by the BBC, and so a bunch of episodes are just gone. And some of them have been found through other sources and other copies of different areas they broadcast in. And it's been a big project to work on it. They have the audio of all of them, so they've been animating some of those missing episodes. And so it'll be interesting to see when they start doing more of these collections of the really early years, if they'll start including the animated episodes in the run, like how it is on Tubi. They just throw in the animated episodes where they exist, which I think is pretty cool. But my mom and I are planning to start watching Doctor Who. We thought about jumping to Third Doctor, just because that would be like the first season that has every episode. But we thought, well, we might as well start at the beginning. So it's on the list of things to do. We'll watch season 1 on Tubi of what's available. Then we'll watch, season 2 here, watch season 3 on Tubi, etc., and just pick up the sets as we need them. And that's going to eventually catch us up on all of the Doctor Who. All right, and then lastly, circling back around to double dipping, if you saw my previous Blu-ray haul, I was not happy with the Wallace and Gromit Complete Cracking Collection 4K. There's also other videos out there describing the exact issues with that 4K, but basically the 4K wasn't a restoration from the film prints, it was an upscale of the Blu-ray. And so I decided, the Blu-ray came back in stock, and I was like, you know what, I'm grabbing the Blu-ray. I'm just going to double dip. Now, the thing is, if you do want to have, like, everything that's in the 4K collection, you do need, like, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, but between this and the Cracking Collection, I have the better video quality on the Blu-ray, and then between both, I have all the bonus features, and that's kind of what I care about. So I'm going to swap this into that collection. It's going to be like, this is the main viewing copy, and we're just not going to touch that 4K again, because that 4K sucks. And it sucks that it sucks, because this was already done great. And we watched all the shorts on it. Looks fantastic. This Blu-ray is still really solid. So that's kind of the end of that stack. All right, let's talk Warner Brothers, because they've been pumping out some good releases. The Penguin comes to 4K. So this was the HBO series. It is set in the universe of the Batman, which is why I put from the director of the Batman. I noticed this got delayed by a month suddenly, and I feel like it was because they wanted to slap Golden Globe winner Colin Farrell on the cover instead of just Colin Farrell. I thought this was great. It's kind of like a really good mobster story. It's got like kind of like your Sopranos kind of vibe to it. But I really enjoyed the show. I was not expecting to like it. I was like, I don't know, maybe it'll just be... But I thought it was great. Colin Farrell does a great job as the Penguin. I do like how it is a villain-focused, project in a superhero universe, but they don't try to make him sympathetic. Like, I don't really feel bad for Oz. I kind of want him to be beat up by Batman. That's kind of a great way to do a Batman villain story, is to kind of make him despicable enough where you're like, yeah, when's Batman showing up to beat your ass? Bonus features on here. I think a lot of these were pre-existing because they had... Maybe when you watch it on like Max, they would put like a behind the scenes thing after the episode. Those are all here. And then there was a bunch of stuff they released on the YouTube channel, which are all here. When I say there's a ton of bonus features on this, like it says and more. That's an understatement. There is a ton of bonus features. Like when I pulled it up to look at the discs, it was just like page after page of like featurettes and everything. So I feel like they've archived everything that they had for the behind the scenes of the show on here. I haven't watched it all in total, but it's a good couple hours, which is really great because we don't usually see bonus material on disc. That's been a big, contention for a lot of people, and especially not from a major studio like this. But they're proud of this show, and they put it all on here, which is pretty awesome. All right, next up we have a new Tom and Jerry collection. This is the CinemaScope collection. This is all the shorts that were produced in CinemaScope, which is 23 shorts plus 3 bonus CinemaScope cartoons that weren't Tom and Jerry. It's a good way of archiving. Warner Brothers Home Video, the Warner Archive division, has been doing great work in the form of preservation. We're getting like a big Looney Tunes collection soon, which is really exciting. It also, I do like it's intended for the adult collector. It may not be suitable for children because, with all kinds of things from how many years ago, everything ranging from racism to misogyny to casual smoking, like all these things that they weren't really okay then. They just were like, society accepted them as like things. But it's good for preservation that we're not losing stuff. They're not editing stuff, which is what I like to see. So it's got all the classic CinemaScope cartoons, part of the 85th anniversary celebration for Tom and Jerry. And yeah, really great release. All right, another Hanna-Barbera show has reached Warner Archive. This is Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles. I didn't know anything about this show until my dad told me about it, because I was like, hey, do you know anything about this show? And he watched a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff when it aired. So, he was like, oh yeah, I like that show. You should get it. And so we got it. 2-disc set for all 18 episodes, plus a bonus feature, which is really cool. The nice part, it is remastered in high definition from 4K scans of the original camera negatives, which is kind of amazing. I'm really impressed that they're giving the Hanna-Barbera shows such a premium treatment. And I'll continue picking them up because we've been kind of getting almost all of them at this point. And then lastly was a movie my mom wanted because Tom Selleck was in it, Last Stand at Saber Ritter. I didn't watch this with her, but she said it was pretty good. I think she was like trying to remember if she even remembered if she'd seen this movie. But yeah, it's a Western. It's got Tom Selleck. Another Star Trek series has come to an end, and another complete set has released. Star Trek Lower Decks, the complete series. Loved Lower Decks. I do not understand why this show couldn't have run for like 10 seasons. I don't think the cost was that high to produce it, but they have decided 5 seasons was enough. And so we got a really nice box set. So there was 2 editions of this box set that was available. There was a standard one, comes in a big thick plastic case, and there's this really cool steelbook collection. So this is the entirety of Star Trek Lower Decks. There's your spine, looking nice. Nice collage of images on the back. Now this, of course, if you guys have followed previous videos, yeah, I double dipped again. This is the kind of the case with Discovery. They had a bonus disc, so I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'll double dip. But this also, another reason I double dipped in Lower Decks was not just because the packaging was nice, but Season 1, they put out a steelbook. Season 2 had no steelbook option, but there was a slipcover option. Season 3 was a manufactured on-demand release, so no slipcover, no retail release. But in Season 4 was a wide retail release, so it has slipcover. So this has been like the most inconsistent looking set. It's not like with Picard. I didn't buy the Picard complete set because the complete set didn't have anything new, and I had the steelbooks for all 3, so it was consistent. This wasn't consistent, so yeah, here we go. Also, by the time the price shook out, I think I spent like $15 more on the complete set than I would have on Season 5 by itself, so I consider that a win. But yeah, it's the entire series is presented here into 2 steelbooks. There's also a couple cool things included. I like the shiny interior. There's a divider so the steelbooks don't rub on each other. This is what the back card thing looks like. It has a little art card, which has the main 4 characters and their actors' signatures on it, which I think is super cool. It's not like they all hand-signed them. They just mass-produced these, but I think it's just a neat little thing to celebrate the series. And then here is the steelbooks. So first of all, this is the Season 1 to 3 steelbook. We got Boimler on the front, having a good time. Tendi on the back, and you can see complete series, Season 1 to 3. Now, this does mean, yes, stacked discs. I knew that going in. It was inevitable. But basically, there's 3 discs on either side. So you can see we got, Season 1, Disc 1, Season 1, Disc 2, and then Season 2, Disc 1 here. And then, naturally, the other side is there. Because each season was... Hey, there's Boimler's face. Because each season was, 10 episodes, 23 minutes each, you can fit them all onto 2 discs with the bonus features. There's Tendi. They are the exact same discs as the previous releases, which is good because it means we have all the bonus features. Yeah, if you did just want to pick up Season 5, you could. I thought, yeah, let's go over the Steelbook. There's Mariner having a good time, and Rutherford as well. And then, of course, on the inside here, we've got Season 4 and 5. So there's only 2 discs on each side. There's Mariner. So this is just Season 4 on the left, and then Season 5 on the right with Rutherford. So pretty cool. I loved the show. I wish it could have continued, but hey, we got a nice set of it here. And I think the Steelbook edition was kind of more fun than just the standard. And like I said, because I didn't pay too much more for the complete over what I would have just paid for Season 5. It made it worth it to kind of go with all the other Star Trek stuff on the shelf. And just to celebrate a great series. All right, let's round things out with the anime section. So, yeah, the first things don't technically count as anime because they're Western-produced animation. Castlevania. So, Castlevania Nocturne Season 1 came out. This is the second Castlevania series for Netflix. They always call it anime. It's Western animation, but it's done in an anime style. I wish they could convey that in marketing. I adore this series. I adore Castlevania Nocturne. I like the first Castlevania. I thought it was great, but man, do I love Nocturne. There's a great historical setting. It's like set in and around the French Revolution, which is fantastic because, I love historical settings and then having like vampires and stuff show up because that's like kind of my jam. I love history. So this is great. I thought the character dynamics were fun. I thought the voice acting was terrific. I thought the music was incredible. And the overall art direction I thought was a huge step up from the first series. I liked it so much that I went back and bought Season 3 and 4 of Castlevania. Yeah, I had bought Season 1 and 2 when they came out. Because I liked Season 1. Thought Season 1 was a good start. Season 2 I thought was much better. Because this was only 4 episodes. So I felt like they just didn't have time to cook. And then this one, yeah, they really... Was it 10 episodes, I think? No, it was 8. So it was 4 and 8. It's kind of like one season, basically. But they really were cooking good with Season 2. And then they kind of they kind of lost me in season 3. And so I was like, I didn't really like season 3, and I like season 4's finale. I think I like the second half of it. But yeah, I wanted to complete the set because of Nocturne. Otherwise, I would have just probably left it at the first 2 seasons. Yeah, I don't have a slipcover for season 3. Doesn't bother me. Reminds me it's the season I don't like. But yeah, these Blu-rays are pretty great. It's nice that Netflix shows get Blu-rays. And I can't wait for season 2 of Nocturne to come out, because season 2 of Nocturne is like my favorite season of all the Castlevania shows. All right, next up we have Naruto Shippuden, set 5. We're trugging along here on the Shippuden sets. Got a nice shot of Jiraiya, smiling like nothing's going to go wrong in this volume. If you know, you know. You can see we're on set 5 of 18. Set 6 is coming out soon. This is 111 through 137, so 27 episodes like usual. We're nearing the conclusion of the SD episodes, so everything in the Naruto Blu-rays has been upscaled so far because it wasn't produced in HD. Starting in set 6, we have the episodes produced in HD. And that's going to be great because I think, and this is my theory, or at least this is my hope. Let's go with my hope. My hope is that once we hit the HD native episodes, they'll just start pumping these out because they don't have to do any more work on them. They can just go HD, 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 like just put the discs out. Hoping that's the case. But yeah, that is the next Naruto set. So set 6, I think, is coming out in April. It's either April or May. I want to say it's April. But anyways, we're getting more soon, which is great because, yeah, I've finished this entire series and I'm going to buy all the Blu-rays. For better or for worse, because there's some chunks of episodes where there's going to be some volumes that are just going to be all filler episodes no one cares about. All right, One Piece update time. Picked up a few more volumes. We got number 18, which has Jinbei here. This is episodes, what is this one? Yeah, episodes 422 to 445. There's been a snag in the One Piece collecting. Not so much in contents of discs, but Volume 12. I have found out Volume 12 has been nearly impossible to get for a couple years now and commands stupid prices on eBay. And Crunchyroll, if you're watching, please reprint Volume 12. Also, please reprint these volumes in general, because the earlier volumes are starting to get harder to get, because I think the demand for One Piece and I think the demand for physical media is on the rise, and it'd be really nice if we could get the volumes easier. I have a feeling, because here's Volume 11, I have a feeling that they're kind of waiting to get all the Funimation stock out, and then they can put in the Crunchyroll stock. Because they've been reissuing certain titles like Dragon Ball, where they just reprint it, where they switch out the Funimation logos for Crunchyroll. And sometimes it's even just on the disc, as opposed to even on the menu, like they did with Film Gold. So I'm kind of hoping, this set's 253 to 275. I'm hoping that we're going to get some reprints, because that Volume 12 is a snag for a lot of us. And yeah, I've got several volumes now, but I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get 12. I did get a correct version of Volume 9. I had done a video talking about the incorrect discs on Volume 9. That was a mass issue. I got an eBay copy. It wasn't too hard to get. 206 to 229 in this set. It wasn't too hard to get once I found a listing that showed the actual discs. And I was like, okay, cool, it's the correct discs. I thought that was going to be my biggest hurdle, but then, yeah, found out Volume 12 is just kind of impossible to get. I did finish out the first 9, because here is Volume 6 with Sanji on the cover. Volume 6 is episodes 131 to 156. And then, yeah, closing the gap for me on the first 9 is Volume 5 with Usopp. And this gets me to, yeah, and this one's like this. It's so inconsistent sometimes, 104 to a 130. The case style's inconsistent. I think Crunchyroll needs to start doing runs on these. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But there is another batch of One Piece. Yeah, I have 1 through 9 and 11. I should get 10. Just building it out as we go along. But, yeah, I think that does it for the haul. So I hope you enjoyed this Blu-ray haul and are looking forward to the next one. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to the notification bell. That really helps the channel, really helps these videos. Leave any comments down below. Tell me your favorite thing you picked up in the last quarter Blu-ray-wise, or any questions and comments on the things I got. If you want to continue the conversation, join our Discord server in the link below. And if you want to help support the channel directly, consider joining as a channel member. There's perks like early access to videos, member-exclusive live streams, and more. Think about it while we give some special shout-outs to our channel members. Special shout-out to all of our channel members, including Captain Tier, Spin-54, Toma K, Masterman95, Super Shaddix Boom, Forever1000, Michael Flores, Common Spidey, Jamie's World, The Clueless Collector, Mr. Smelly Potato, Vigo, Common Pikachu, Colm Creed, Spidey Brian, BV Universe Official, Philip Ceruno, Ben Odinson, Mars the Star Droid, EZP3R, K Breezy, Shinji, Nerdy Texas Accountant, Cam Strickland, Common Jojo, EasyToast727, Greg Harris,
and Matchas Dent. Also special shout out to our new commander tiers, the Man of Movies, Jess Zayden, and Brendan Overland. Thank you everybody for your support of this channel, both channel members and viewers alike.
If you so wish, I'm on social media at Blue Sky and Discord at Soundout12. You can also find a wonderful graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. Plus, you can find HeroClub at hero-club.com for interviews, news, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.